and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about Rawvana, Raw Alignment and my return to 80-10-10. Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about Rawvana, Raw Alignment and my return to 80-10-10. Welcome back to the channel. If you're clicking on this because it's got Rawvana and Raw Alignment on the title, welcome. For those of you who are in the raw vegan movement, you would be familiar with Rawvana and Raw Alignment. These two young girls came up in the YouTube world and the raw vegan movement following, you guessed it, 80-10-10. And eventually they come out and said they've returned to cook food like most people do. Hey, I've done a video returning to cook food too before. I get it. And now they've come out and they're returning to flesh. Eggs and fish. I'm not sure completely what Raw Alignment's eating. I watched about 2 minutes of her video. I'm sorry if you're a fan, but she just bored me. And if I had to hear all the mumbo jumbo behind it, just spit it out. I'm eating meat. This is what I'm doing. Okay, beauty. So I didn't really stop and listen too much to see exactly what she was eating. I flipped through the comments and I gathered what was going on. I had watched a few videos of Raw Alignment prior, and she was complaining about digestive issues, as was Rawvana, and Rawvana was complaining about losing her period. Now, firstly, I followed this program for 2 years. In that time, I never ever lost my period. I have been raw again for the last 12 months, and I have not lost my period. So the number one reason somebody will lose their period, it's not meant to happen. There are people in the raw vegan movement that say it's meant to happen. It's not. It is a natural part of your body cleaning itself out. It is cleaning out a dead egg that hasn't been fertilized. And it is natural for a woman to menstruate. The reason being, if anybody would stop menstruating, the number one factor would be undereating. And it's very, very easy to do on this lifestyle, and it can be easy on a vegan lifestyle. I don't know. I've never had that problem. I never find it easy to undereat. I openly admit I like food. I like to eat. Hence, I have to have big volumes of food in order to keep me satisfied on this lifestyle. But they've come out and also said that they've had digestive issues. Now, the one thing that I noticed with both of them, and I had watched a few of Raw Alignment's What I Eat in a Day videos recently, only because I saw the changes in their body. I thought, I wonder what they're doing. And always looking, searching, you know, wanting to find something that works for me. And the one thing I noticed was their fat was higher and their protein was higher. Now, anybody who has read this book or who's read the China study or has read Proteinaholic by Dr. Garth Davis, you will know that higher than 10% of your diet being protein can cause constipation, it can cause digestive issues, it can cause autoimmune issues. So that leads me to believe that is the problem, not this diet. But another thing I also noticed was there was water fasting involved and extreme measures in order to get the body that they want. And look, I understand I'm 41 years of age and I'm still, you know, we all want to have that perfect body. And in this world with social media, it is very hard. And especially when you've got the monster followings they do, they don't want to be left for the new girl in town who's got that super trim body and every young girl's decided they're going to follow. But here lays the problem in following young people. Young people chop and change all the time. And look, we all chop and change all the time. I never forget when I was about 13 years of age, my father said to me, your life changes every 5 years. Where you are today may not be where you are tomorrow. And it's very true. When we look back on the changes of our life in a 5-year bracket, we say, wow, I've done a lot, or I haven't done much. But for me, I know my own involvement in my own life, especially since I gave up alcohol 11.5 years ago, has been full of involvement and different changes. So that's what happens. That is life. Now, I don't for one moment want to condone these girls for going back to flesh. They are huge influences in the vegan movement. And they have a lot of influence on young, impressionable girls. And this is, you know, a lot of people will probably be leaving veganism over it. And because of their monster following, a lot of people will be now following them and following the way that they eat. So, yeah, it is a problem. But I'm not here to play judge and jury on them. I had a girl in one of my groups write a post and they said, you know, but she's collecting money from vegan programs and the diet that she's put people on, it wasn't working for her, so why was she putting it out, blah, blah, blah. Look, I understand all that, but as I said to her, they're brands. And brands sell things. You know, at the end of the day, that's what life's about. I'm not saying it's a good thing or anything like that, but they are brands. They're not just human beings. They're not just an individual person like I am or, you know, most of us viewing. We're just regular people. We don't have these massive followings where we can sell astronomical amounts of product. These girls are making big, huge money. And it would have been they would have been in a situation like, my God, how can I actually come out and speak the truth? Now, I don't ever want anybody to leave veganism. I'm vegan not for my health. Health is just another thing that I'm highly interested in. But I'm vegan first and foremost for the animals. I watched Earthlings nearly 6 years ago this May with my daughter. And we became vegan together, and that's something we have shared together, and it's an important part of our life and our family's life. So, and for the lives of many, many animals. So it's never a great thing when that happens. But at the end of the day, they're human beings, and coming out after them as, you know, as a witch hunt style, which vegans love to do, is not going to be the answer, because if they do decide to come back to plants, they need to have a safe haven, somewhere where they know they're not going to be attacked, because when you feel like you're going to be attacked, it makes you very frightened to use social media as your outlet. And social media is a place for people to be able to share what they're interested in, what their views are, what their views aren't, what they are and aren't doing, whether we agree with it or not. And if we offer them a place of love, comfort and support, they may come back. But not to mention, you have to realise that any time that you put psychotic behaviour in a comment section, other people see it. When other people see it, it keeps people thinking vegans are crazy. That is why on my own personal Facebook and my own Instagram's never that crazy. Facebook's always an issue. I block people. And it's not because if somebody agrees or disagrees with me or anything else. I don't want crazy vegans on my social media, because I have non-vegans following me, and I don't want them to see vegans being crazy, because it's off-putting and it turns people off becoming vegan. And my biggest aim in life is to bring people to the vegan movement. Moving on from that, I am now officially back following 80-10-10. I never thought this was going to happen. Believe me, when I left the raw vegan movement nearly 3.5 years ago, no, 1.5 years ago, sorry, 1.5 years ago, approximately. I'm hopeless with times, but it was around that time. When I came out, I was in Cambodia. I was in a very, very, very bad place in my life. I was traveling. I was struggling, adjusting to Cambodia. Oh, who am I kidding? I'd still have trouble adjusting if I was living there. It was very hard, and I just couldn't get my shit together, so to speak. And like most people, we do find reasons why it's not working. We never want to take responsibility and say, hey, look, I'm actually struggling and this is why. And I was running a massive group. I was having problems with the girls I was running it with. I felt like I didn't have a voice in my own group. I felt like I had no control left in my group. I was struggling, as I said, with traveling. I was just struggling, full stop. And I put the blame on the diet rather than, you know, what's the real story, Mrs. Jones? Anyhow, a couple of months after I came out and said that I'm no longer raw, I felt dreadful, and I made a return to eating raw with the promise that I wouldn't be the militant raw vegan that I was, and I wouldn't be strict on myself, and I would give myself leniency, self-love, and room to breathe, which is great. And we should focus on loving ourselves. Self-love is everything. If we can't love ourselves, we can't give love to others, and we can't give our body the nourishment that it actually needs. So self-love is everything. And not having militant behaviour, one, to others, and two, towards ourselves, is also a good thing. But there's always a but. And the reason this but really came into full frontal for me was when I watched Rawvwna's video. And she was talking about the thrush she had. Oh, thrush, she called it Candida, but it's thrush. And she was talking about all different things, and I started thinking, oh my God. And I just grabbed my book. This has travelled far and wide with me. I grabbed my book and I started reading about having excess fat in your system, and how with the fruits and the sugars it can cause Candida in your body. That is why it's so important to keep our fat levels under 10%. And I thought, I've been getting a bit itchy lately. Not down there, but my skin has been getting a little bit itchy, and I've had a bit of a breakout on my face. And if I want to be truly honest with you, I have put on a couple of kilos, which is easy to do when you up the fat and when you're not accountable. And I was over in Australia and I ate a lot of gourmet raw, and I've come back here and I've still been gorging out on extra fat because it's numbing to the body. Let's put it that way. It does numb the body. And sometimes when there's a lot going on in your life, you don't want to feel the way you can when you're on a raw diet. Well, let me explain. When you eat a raw diet, predominantly extremely low fat, you feel every emotion. And you don't feel every emotion so much when you have a heavier diet. And this is because your body cannot focus on digestion and focus on actually digesting the feelings that are going through your body at the same time, because they both consume a lot of energy from your body. So what happens? You numb your body, and your body says, I don't have to focus so much on those feelings. I can just work on digestion and she'll be okay. But what happens in the meantime is a couple of kilos creep on, my skin starts to get a bit of a breakout, and just the connection watching Rawvwna's video, I was like, So I got my trusty book out, and I'm reading away, and I woke up the next morning and I said, you know what, screw this. I am going back to 80-10-10. And I got my little chronometer out and I've been measuring and weighing my food and I feel great, and I'm only day one. And I'm not saying this just because, you know what, everyone says this, oh, I'm doing this and I feel great. I actually think it's more a placebo effect. I feel great because I'm, one, admitting to myself, I need this program. I need to follow the structure of 80-10-10. I also got my chronometer out and I weighed and I measured all my food up, and I'll just show you a sample of everything I ate and as I'm talking, and I ate really well, and I was just like, man, I feel so good, and I didn't numb my feelings. And here I am, day 2, with the same plan in place and the plan to have accountability. I was even excited to get on YouTube. I haven't been excited to get on YouTube for God knows how long. Just God knows how long. It's just even the thought of it, I'm like, oh. And today I woke up and I just said, you know what? I'm getting back on YouTube. I'm getting back on YouTube. I'm sharing my journey. I'm being honest. I'm being raw, the same way I've always been. I've never had any problems telling you the truth because I got nothing to gain. This channel is just for me, for accountability. So I'm really happy to be back into the movement. I wrote up a big post on Instagram, and I started my new group, 80-10-10, a Fruitarian journey, and I've already got a couple of hundred people have joined, and they've come from my other group. If you'd like to join, Raw Vegan Fruitarians for Life. And but this group is different. This group's going to be special. It is just focused on this. We are following this. I'm not having any gourmet raw on there. There'll be no fasting. There's no herbs. There's no, whatever. There's no spices. There's no garlic. There's no cacao. There's none of that. It's waking up each morning and having a high water fruit and following the fundamentals of this book. I'm also going to be going through different pages, different important things in this book to help and educate people. One thing I do know is this program. I know it like the back of my hand. I love teaching people. I love leading people. When I lead people, when I teach people, it keeps me accountable. And that's just something I love to do. And I'm going to be ensuring that I keep control of this group and just keep it to be following this book and following this program. I am just so excited. Nobody understands how long I've wanted to be a raw vegan. I bought this book years ago. This isn't the original one. I bought another one exactly the same as this about 17 years ago, and I lost it, and then I got the updated version. But I bought this 17 years ago, The Hallelujah Diet by George Malcolmus, and he recommends a lot of raw food. He still has some cooked in it. And I got really into juicing, and I was doing the carrot juice and the barley green and all of that. And, because of my alcoholism and my addiction to junk food and things like that, I wasn't as great as I could have been. But it's always been something there for me, that raw food. It's just so exciting. It's something that I dream about all the time, and I love eating raw. I dedicate so much time to advocating the raw living because I know how great it makes you feel. But it's just time for me just to have a bit more structure, because it seems to work for me when I have that structure. Doesn't mean that I'm going to be militant about it or anything like that. I would never go back to how I was. For 2 years following this program, I was so strict and hard on myself that I felt like I was enclosed in a prison. I think I've learned a lot along the way in my journey, and I've grown from it. And I don't want to get into all this mumbo jumbo stuff, but failing and falling is all part of how we grow and how we make things better for us. And there's never anything wrong with saying, you know what, I'm going back to where I started. So I am going back to where I started, and I am going to be following this diet. And for those who are interested, go and buy the book and join me on my journey. And I want as many people as possible to join me with it. Anyhow, I haven't done a video for 20 plus minutes. I know some people say, oh my God, can she talk? Can she rant? Yes, I can. But in there's always a lot of, there are a few little golden nuggets that'll help you along the way. Anyhow, I'm so excited. Can't wait to see you in the next video. My name's Jade. Subscribe to my channel, leave a comment below, and most importantly, love life, live free, and be kind to the #1 person in your life, you. Thanks for watching.